Known as the Empire Builder, this train crosses 2,000 miles of the American North, from the waters of the Puget Sound to the skyline of Chicago. Along the way, it passes by snow-covered peaks, national parks, golden plains, and the calm bends of the Mississippi River. I'm taking the entire journey from start to finish. I'm going to show you what it's like to travel this historic route. I'm also testing out the Insta 360 Go Ultra along the way, and you'll see watermarks to note that footage. Let's jump in. The journey began at the historic King Street Station in Seattle, which opened its doors in 1906. The Empire Builder route has actually departed from here since 1929, when it was originally operated by the Great Northern Railway. The grand waiting room features marble walls, mosaic floors, and ornate plaster ceilings that were restored back to the 1906 look. It's definitely a really interesting spot to start your journey from. There's no lounge here though, like there are in some of the bigger train stations, so you just wait in the waiting room for them to call out your train.
Here we go, they called for boarding, and so I'm making my way to the train.
I'm always surprised by how big these trains are, and after getting introduced to my attendant, I stored my luggage down below and headed up to my roomette. My roomette was number 9, and it was located on the second floor right in the back near the door. Here's my home for the next 46 hours. I'll give you a full tour when we take off. Only a few minutes after sitting down, the train lurched to a start and we are on our way to Chicago. Our journey has officially begun, and look at that, we are 1 minute early. Let's see what happens at the end of the trip. Pulling out of the King Street station, you're underground for a little while, going through a few tunnels before you come out and you get some views of the city. I was located on the right side of the train, which was great in the beginning as I got some good views of the Space Needle as we were leaving Seattle. But then almost immediately, it was not very good as the Puget Sound was on the opposite side of the train. There's also no observation car on this section of the train until we connect with the train coming from Portland up in Spokane later. So after getting my dinner reservation and crossing the Ballard Locks, I made friends with the roomette across from me and spent a lot of time looking through the window in her car. If you can choose, then I'd probably select the left side of the train for this journey, as overall the left has better views. There's obviously some section where the right is great, like during the Mississippi River portion, but overall I'd say the left is better. The section going along the Puget Sound is short at only about an hour, but while you're there you can maybe see the Olympic Mountains out in the distance, you can see container ships, you can see ferries heading out to Bainbridge Island. There was even a park that had a lighthouse. It's just beautiful, especially at sunset, which is when we were taking it, and there's some sections where you're less than 5 feet off the water. This is one of the main highlights of the Empire Builder route, and it reminded me a lot of the time on the Coast Starlight when we were going along the California coast. As you reach the city of Everett, which is home to Boeing's massive aircraft assembly plant, that's where you say goodbye to the coast and you start the journey inland. We're officially saying goodbye to the coast. I have to say, the start of our journey was a lot more magical than I anticipated it being. I didn't know we were going to go along the water for so long. We got a little bit of sunset with the clouds, but that was a really cool start, and now we're starting to see some fall colors, which is what I was really hoping for on this trip. Also, I'm going to have to give you the room tour tomorrow because it's already getting dark and we got to go to the dining car pretty soon. So we'll do that tomorrow. It's not going to be very long. As the train headed inland, we went past farmland before connecting with the Skycamouche River and following that for a while. This provided some great early views, but unfortunately the sun goes down relatively early at the time of year I was there. I bet if you go in the summer you might see some good views of the Cascades, but since I was there in fall for the fall colors, this was basically the end of what I saw for the first day. We're on our way to Leavenworth, which is one of my favorite adventures I had with my family. You can see that up here, but I'm heading to the dining car to hopefully get a steak.
This will be our second call for all 6:45.
Remember when I said that you don't get an observation car? Well, if you take the one from Portland, you actually don't get a dining car. So we had the dining car, they had the observation car, and then when we met up in Spokane, we connected later. If you've never been on Amtrak before, then seating is communal, so if you're by yourself like me, you'll definitely be seated with more people. I was sat with a woman who lived in Juneau, which was interesting to talk about, and on Amtrak you get a free alcoholic beverage with dinner, and then it's a 3-course meal. I went with the brie salad, and then I went with the flat iron steak. The flat iron steak is Amtrak's signature dish, and it's cooked to order, and it's always fantastic. The sides usually leave a little bit to be desired, but the steak is definitely my favorite thing to order on the train. Cheers. I went with the white chocolate blueberry cheesecake for dessert, and then I said goodbye to my dinner companion and I headed back to my roomette. All Alright, I'm back after my meal. I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit. I had to bring up all my stuff because you can't really put a suitcase in here, so you kind of have to go back and forth with the stuff that you need. And then I'm gonna turn this into a bed and say goodnight. Also, that food is really good. The steak is always a huge win. I don't even know if I'm gonna get anything tomorrow. I might just get the steak again. Only a few minutes after I sat down, we made it to Wenatchee, which was our first fresh air stop of the trip. You can't really do anything on a fresh air stop as they only give you about 5 minutes, but it's always nice to walk around, to get some fresh air, and just to see another part of the country. I take advantage of these stops every time, and I usually try to even plan my dining around being able to get off the train. I don't know, there's just something nice about walking around, taking in the fresh air, interacting with other travelers, especially on a long train journey. There we go, our 5-minute fresh air break. Now it's time for bed. One of the most difficult parts is just getting ready for bed. These are little tiny bathrooms and you gotta bring everything you need with you. But brushing your teeth is always important. I recommend bringing a bunch of these freezer bags, and that's what I put all of my stuff in when I take it to the bathroom, and it makes it easy to carry it around the train. So here I am 6'3", and I can actually fully spread out in this. So I can't point my toes, but I can definitely lay in the bed with no problems. I actually kind of like the rocking of the train. I feel like it's rocking me to sleep a little bit. Plus you throw some earplugs in. I slept good on my last train, so hopefully I sleep good on this one. And guess what? When we wake up tomorrow, we're gonna be in Glacier National Park, hopefully with fall colors. We'll see you then. And with that, I'll say goodnight and we will see you tomorrow. Good morning, it's 7:15. I just got up, actually. Slept pretty good last night. Once I got to sleep, it took me a while to get to sleep. Let's go get some breakfast and explore the train a little bit before we get into Glacier National Park. That video makes me look wrecked in that I didn't sleep good, but I actually slept pretty decent. It was still dark outside because of the time of the year though, so I headed into the dining car and I sat by myself for breakfast. Breakfast is first come, first serve, so you may sit with people or you may not. And then I ordered the omelet with everything in it and bacon on the side. Be sure to also get salsa, I feel like it definitely needs it. We had left Spokane sometime in the middle of the night, so we had attached the observation car, so after eating breakfast I headed to the observation car to watch the sunrise. The observation car wasn't that busy in the morning, but we had already entered Montana and we're going to be going through Glacier in the next few hours, so it gets a lot busier for that. This part was beautiful as well though, as we were going past Whitefish Lake and we got some great views of the moody morning with the steam coming off the lake and fall colors out in the distance. I took the opportunity to walk through coach and to go all the way to the back of the train where there's a window, and it's actually one of my favorite views in the train. We're about to have our first fresh air stop at Whitefish, Montana. Arriving in Whitefish, we were able to get out, and this is another one of the spots that I wish I would have had more time at. I'm not prepared for this. I got shorts and flips on. And the weather said it could be snowing right now. Pretty cool train station in Whitefish too, check that out. The Whitefish Depot dates back to 1927 after it replaced an older station that dated back to 1904. There are also some statues and plaques related to the Great Northern Railway here and its history, which was cool to see. I'm not staying out here very long because it's freezing and I need to get a spot in the observation car to go through Glacier. Heading back in, I made my way to the observation car, like most of the people in the train were doing, and I grabbed a spot to start what ended up being the best part of our journey, our time going around and close to Glacier National Park. I got excited a little early as the views don't really start in Whitefish. You got about another hour before you get to the national park. During this section, you go in and out of small towns like Columbia Falls. You do go along the river and cross it a few times, and then as you make your way up to West Glacier, that's when the views really start to pick up. We started noticing how moody and cloudy it was out in the distance, and so we were kind of wondering what the weather was going to be like as we went through the national park. Luckily, the fall colors were on display and they were beautiful to see as we were passing through.
It could be an interesting adventure if it snows while we're going through Glacier National Park.
I didn't have to wonder about that for too long. It started snowing right as we were leaving West Glacier, and I have to say, it added a lot to the next hour of our journey. During this section, we were following the Flathead River and we were going in and out of tunnels. Every time we left a tunnel, we were greeted with an even better view than the one before. I mean, the views in this section, especially with the water, the fall colors, and the snow, rivaled anything I saw on the California Zephyr. I mean, just look at these views and how stunning it is. I highly recommend you get a spot on the left side of the train for this portion, as that's the side that sees the river and the mountains out in the distance. The other side is basically just looking at a rock wall most of the time. Of course, with the weather, we didn't get to see any of the massive mountains that I'm sure were behind the clouds. But I have to say I was not complaining, especially as we gained elevation and the snow started to stick to the ground and provide that beautiful white. I mean, it really allowed the fall colors to pop, and it was just another level of magic on this train. The excitement was palpable in the observation car, with everybody oohing and awing, especially as we went in and out of tunnels. I mean, that's one of the cool things about train travel, is that people are here to see the views and just to take them in at a slower speed, which leads to great conversations and everybody just enjoying the experience together. After hanging out for about an hour and a half, I decided to head back to my room, but on the way I went into the coach class just to show you what it looked like to sit in there. Honestly, these seats are pretty comfortable, they're wide, and they recline a good bit. I did think it was a little weird that there weren't armrests between the two seats from what I could tell, because if you were on an overnight with a stranger, it could definitely lead to some interesting interactions.
I'd do it if I had to.
Back in my roomette, we stopped to let a few people off, and it was nice to be able to watch the snow falling outside.
Wow, guys, this is pretty special. Seeing all the fall colors and then actually seeing it snow. Look at that. It's like straight magic out there right now.
Let me tell you, the views during this section were spectacular, but I would love to know if you can see more of the mountains if it's not snowing. Do let me know that in the comments.
This is why I like train travel, being able to see the country like this and to be able to have these types of experiences where you get to see fall and snow and places you would never see before. That's what I like about train travel.
The second half of our journey around the outskirts of Glacier National Park was great from the right side, which is why I was able to go back to my roomette and enjoy the views from there. As we were climbing one of the final mountains outside of this area, we were notified that we were going to have to stop because of a freight train that was having some trouble in front of us. We're paused waiting for some freight traffic, and you may be wondering how I've got some of these cool shots in the video, like this one, like this one, like this one, like this one, and even this one. It's all thanks to the Insta360 Go Ultra, this tiny camera that I have in my hand right now. You'd never guess it from its size, but this little square camera, about as small as a cookie, captures some truly unique footage. Whether I'm walking through a train or exploring the city, I can clip it right to the magnetic pendant with no gear to hold, no setup to fuss over, and it just films life as it happens. And even when the light fades, I can switch on pure video mode and get great low light footage. Plus, it's waterproof, so it's ready for rain, splashes, or wherever the trip takes you. And that 2.5-inch flip touchscreen makes it easy to preview everything right on the action pod. I'm a huge fan of these little sticky tabs, as I can literally stick this thing anywhere for recording, and then it pulls right off, doesn't leave any residue. It's great for setting up time lapses.
It's especially great for showing this room from above. So if you want to pick up one of these for yourself, scan the QR code right here or click the link in the description. All right, let's do a room tour now.
It's about a 30-minute wait, but the freight train is finally passing us. And there we go, we are back on the move. All right, here's the room tour. I have 2 seats, and as you can tell, it probably wouldn't be great for 2 tall people, but maybe 2 short people could do it. There was 2 water bottles that were left here. There's only 1 now. There is 1 plug. So I definitely recommend that you get something like this so you can charge multiple devices at once. And there's your temperature control right here, and there's a light. And then on the other side, there's your call button when you want to get your bed made. There's the light for above and night. There's music control, still have no idea what that is. I said it was for a party last time, but we didn't have a party, so maybe we'll have a party this time. And then there's another light over here. As I showed you yesterday, this folds into a bed at nighttime, and then there's also a second bed up here, which I will show you later tonight how to get into that. There's also a small trash can down here for a few items. There's a place to hang your coat right there. And then this is kind of what I use for storage. By far the biggest problem in here is storage. It's really hard to store anything. So I have stuff up here, I have stuff down there. I even have stuff up there in the bed. But my suitcase is downstairs, and that's basically the only place it can be because of the lack of storage up here. These steps are also what you use to get up into that bed.
And that concludes the room tour. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments.
Oh, and for the bathrooms, there's one upstairs and there's 3 downstairs. The shower also is downstairs, but more on that later. If you're interested in the differences between the 1 bedroom, here's a 1 bedroom. You can see that there's a couch that you can sit in, plus a small chair. There's a big window. There's a bathroom as part of the room that has a shower. Water falls directly onto the toilet though, so I'm not sure how that works. I've actually never stayed in one of these. And then there's a sink with soap on the outside.
And this is what the accessible room looks like. There's 2 seats, and then there's a bathroom right inside of the room.
On the way again, we left the big mountains behind and we're getting into a flatter part of Montana.
Man, I am never gonna get tired of seeing the fall colors with the snow. What an incredible time to be making this journey.
As we headed into Montana's big sky country with the snow still falling, this made me think that next time I do this, I might actually have to stop at Glacier National Park and spend a few days and then pick up the train again and continue the journey, as I think that'd be a pretty cool way to see the park. After a few more mountain passes, we unfortunately said goodbye to the snow-covered beauty of western Montana, and we moved into the Great Plains.
It's interesting how much the scenery has changed since the morning. We were going through the mountains, and look, we're in the plains now.
Also, pro tip, bring some apples because you will want them on a long trip like this. There's not anything like this on the train. As we crossed over something known as the Cut Bank Trestle Bridge, we arrived in the town of Cut Bank, which was not a fresh air stop, and so I decided to make my way over to lunch. Lunch on the Amtrak is just show up whenever you want between the hours that they're open, and then they seat you with other people and you can place your order. I went with the patty melt, which is one of my favorites with the caramelized onions, and then I got butter cake for dessert. You really gotta try to find your steps with all the healthy food you eat on the trains.
One of the things I like about Amtrak is the communal dining. I know not everybody likes that, but I'm definitely more of an extrovert, and I love meeting new people on my train trip. I just had a great lunch with some new people that were traveling for different reasons, and it's interesting all of the things that bring people onto a train trip like this. I mean, I'm going across to make videos, people are going across because they hate flying, or they want to see more of the country, or they're stopping in some small town because they have friends. I mean, it's just a cool way to kind of bring people together. For now, I'm going to get some work done because we got flatlands for basically the rest of the trip, so I'm going to keep showing them to you, but it's definitely not the scenery that we saw earlier today. Also, the butter cake is by far the best dessert on Amtrak, but I'm going to eat it later with some coffee. I don't think I showed you this during the room tour, but you also have this, which comes out and you can use it for working, or apparently you can play checkers. I don't know if anybody's ever actually done that on here, but definitely great for working. The Amtrak is also a great opportunity to get work done. There's no Wi-Fi on the trains, but you can use your phone hotspot if you have reception, or you can just use it as a time to edit videos or things like that that don't require Wi-Fi. After a few hours of working, we made it to Havre, Montana, which was our next fresh air stop. And this is actually our last fresh air stop for 7 hours, so we definitely needed to take advantage of it. Must be close to Canada, because there's a Canada flag right there too. Never mind, it must have something to do with the hands across the border statue that's here. This is a cool stop. We got fall and we got the Great Northern Railway. Big old engine right here. Majority of stops don't have anything to look at, so when you do get to stop at one like this, it's always welcome. I gotta remember it was snowing this morning because I'm unprepared again. It is freezing out here. I ran all around at this stop to try to get warm and to see all the things they had, like this cool train. But unfortunately, after about 7 minutes, we heard the all aboard and it was time to get back on and continue our journey. I headed to the back as we left the train station and I met someone who watches the channel and who is trying to travel every different Amtrak route. It's pretty cool to talk to him about the different routes I had been on and to encourage him to keep doing it if that was something he was trying to accomplish. And then from there I just kind of wandered around the train. I spent a little bit of time in the observation car, but it's a lot of the same thing that you're looking at as you're going through this part of the country. Figure now is as good a time as any for some butter cake with these nice relaxing views. There's also a privacy screen and a locking mechanism that only works when you're inside, not outside.
I can't stress this enough, if you're doing a long Amtrak train journey, bring a lot of things to do or just relax and take in the views of the country. We're going slow over a bad parted track, but we get to see these fall color trees a little bit more up close, so I can't complain about that. Look at how beautiful they are. You may think I'm crazy for being this excited about fall, but in California we don't have a lot of fall, and so every time I see it, it definitely blows me away. I feel like there's a certain calm that settles in on the train journey when the mountains fade behind you and the horizon just seems to stretch out forever. I read a quote that said, "Out here the land doesn't shout, it whispers," and I don't know, that seems pretty true for what I was looking at. It's just miles and miles of open space, and it's certainly beautiful, especially as the sun is starting to go down. I was watching the sunset from my train window, but after we turned, I couldn't see it anymore, so I figured it'd be a good time to make my journey back to the back of the train. It's a bummer these are always so dirty because this is such a cool view. I spent about 30 minutes back here, and right at the end when the sun was going down, I was greeted with an amazing view as the sun basically lined up with the track out in the distance. I mean, how cool are these shots? That was a way cooler sunset than I anticipated experiencing, especially from the back of the train like that. I'm gonna go take a shower and then I got a late dinner tonight. Here's where you stow your luggage while you're on the train if you're in a roomette. Now it's time for Amtrak shower review as a 6'3" man. The most unique part is the fact that the train is just moving back and forth. It's not enough to walk, much less shower. Decent size. Definitely bigger than some hotels I've been in. They provide towels for you, and then they provide bars of soap. Here's how you control the temperature, and then you just push the button and you're ready for it to go. Shower review, I give it a 5 to a 6 out of 10. For a train shower, you're not expecting much, and it definitely delivers on that. It's got decent water pressure, it has a hand shower, which is nice. It's a good size. The only problem I really had was the fact that it didn't get hot enough for me. It was only like a lukewarm, so it wasn't ideal with how cold it's been today. But overall, better than I would anticipate on a train. We got a little bit of time to kill, and then we're gonna head to dinner. It definitely feels like you're just eat the entire time you're on these trains. I wasn't really hungry by the time dinner came around, but there's nothing else to do, and so it's always a welcome opportunity to get dinner and to chat with other people on the train. All of the meals are included if you're in one of the sleeper cabins, and you have to pay for them separately if you're in coach. For dinner, I went with the coconut shrimp and then I went with the chicken. And I have to say that I preferred the salad and steak the previous night. The chicken was decent, but it's got nothing on the steak. And then I went with the chocolate cake, which everybody at my table loved, but it was a little bit too rich for me as I'm not a huge chocolate fan. If you're a chocolate fan, you will definitely love this. I'm gonna go set up my bags in about 45 minutes. We're getting our fresh air stop in North Dakota for about 45 minutes, so that'll be cool to walk around. All right, let's play everyone's favorite Amtrak game. Can Josh fit in the upper bunk? This is how tall I can stand when I'm on the stairs. I don't know, you tell me. All right, can you see me? I'm fully stretched out. I got about an inch on that side, but I would say that the bed itself is pretty much as narrow as I am. I don't think I could turn much, and I got a metal bar on my head right here. That's about how much movement I got right there. That's how much movement I got on my feet. But yeah, I mean, I guess it is possible I could sleep here if I absolutely had to. Let me know what you think about the top bunk if you tried it. One more shout out to Insta 360. I love this little camera. I love being able to just stick it wherever I want to do my shots. It just makes it so easy to get different angles. So the question is, can I fit? The answer to that would be yes. Would I sleep good? The answer to that would probably be no. It's almost 11 o'clock right now because we're about an hour and a half delayed from where we should be, but we're about to get to a fresh air stop, and I don't want to go to bed before I get to walk around a little bit, so that's what I'm waiting for. It does not look like it's going to be nice out there with the wind. This is Minot, North Dakota, and as far as I remember, this is actually my first time in North Dakota. So I think that might actually mean I've completed all 50 states. I think North Dakota was my last one. This is kind of an anticlimactic way to do it though, in the middle of the night with no one else out here but me. I did take the opportunity to walk into the small train station here, and they had a few things that you could buy from a vending machine and a few magazines that you could look at. After that, I walked around in the cold for as long as I possibly could, and then I headed back onto the train.
Wow, that wind is whipping. It is so cold. That means I should just go to bed. And with that, day 2 on the Amtrak is done. One more day tomorrow, and we'll be in Chicago.
Right before I go to bed on a train, I always look at what time sunrise is, and I set my alarm for just before that. I love just getting up, having a cup of coffee, and sitting in my bed and watching the sunrise. It's pretty hard to beat.
Good morning. We are running about an hour and 20 minutes behind schedule right now. We just pulled into St. Cloud, Minnesota. On the sleep review, once I got to sleep, I slept pretty good, but it always takes me like an hour or two to get to sleep. I'm excited today because we got fall colors and following the Mississippi River for a while before we make it into Chicago.
After the sun came up, I made my way down to breakfast and I sat by myself and just got to watch the world go by. I apologize here because I meant to order something different, but when they came around, I just went with the omelet again and some sausage on the side. It's an easy breakfast, so why change what's not broken? After breakfast, I watched the Mississippi River come into view as we arrived at our first fresh air stop of the day.
Made it to Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is one I wish I had a little bit more time at, as I've never been here before and it looks like a cool city, but next time.
I was also hoping to go see the train station here, but they told us not to go very far as we were trying to make up time and we only had about 5 to 10 minutes. Because of that, I just walked to the front of the train so I could take some pictures of it, looked out over the city skyline, and then made my way back on. I had done my research and found out that the Mississippi River is along the right side of the train for the first 20 minutes or so, and then it's along the left side of the train for the next 2 hours. My roomette was on the wrong side of the train for the long part of the Mississippi River, so I went and got a spot in the observation car and waited for it.
We're going along the Mississippi River for the next few hours, so be prepared for a lot of Mississippi River footage.
If you're familiar with my channel, then you probably know that a dream of mine is to drive the Great River Road. That's a road trip that follows the Mississippi River all the way from its start to its end in the Gulf. I haven't got a chance to do that yet, but this is like the next best thing, following it on a train. The views especially start to pick up when you make it to the town of Red Wing. This wasn't a fresh air stop, so we couldn't get out, but it looks beautiful with the park right along the water. And from here, I feel like the train really just settles into a rhythm. It's basically just tracing the edge of the Mississippi River on and off for the next couple hours. There's something deeply peaceful about this part of the journey. There's no mountains to climb, there's no snowstorms to outrun. It's just a slow ride beside a river that basically built this part of the country. And I feel like I settled in here as well, just chatting with the woman who had her adult-age son with her for her birthday and who was experiencing these views with me. When the train is on time and you're not dealing with delays, I don't think there's a more peaceful way to travel. If you're wondering how you eat if you're in coach class, there is a cafe car. It's on the bottom floor of the observation car, and I went down so I could show it to you. It's a great place to grab a snack, and I got a Diet Coke and some M&Ms. It's open for most of the journey, and they'll call out when it's closed on the loudspeaker. Shout out to the workers on the train for how they managed the observation car. They told people to leave after about an hour and a half so others could get the views, and they even woke up some people who were just sleeping in the car.
We've got some fantastic views of the Mississippi River. Now we're heading out for our last fresh air break of this journey.
This last fresh air stop was in the city of Winona, Minnesota, and it was about 5 to 7 minutes as well. This was our last opportunity to get off the train before we got to Chicago in about 6.5 hours.
Not really much to see here. A little bit of train stuff, and then there's a terminal over there, and that's about it. All that's left is lunch and just watching the world go by.
After getting back on the train, I headed to lunch and I sat on the side of the car that allowed me to watch the Mississippi River as we continued alongside it. I wasn't very hungry, so I kept it simple with the Pellegrino and a chicken Caesar salad. The Caesar salad was actually pretty good, and the grilled chicken was a nice addition to the top. But honestly, the main thing I was eating at this lunch were the last views of the Mississippi River. All right, now that we finished our last dining car meal, let's talk food review. Honestly, the food on the Amtrak is pretty good. People working this time were fantastic as well. Starting with breakfast, I got the omelet both days. People love the French toast, but that's not my jam in the morning. I don't even usually eat breakfast, so I got the omelet both days, sausage one day, bacon the other. I prefer sausage, but both are good. And then for lunch, I went with the patty melt and the grilled chicken Caesar salad. Honestly, both of those were really good too, especially the chicken on the salad. It was grilled great, and it was a nice addition if you're looking for something healthy, especially if you're getting a bigger dinner. But probably the patty melt is my favorite. I love those grilled onions on there. Also, the brownie's fine, but butter cake is by far the best dessert on Amtrak, so definitely get that one at lunch. And then lastly, for dinner, it's hard to go wrong with the steak. That's what everybody tells you when they're on Amtrak, and they're right. They cook it to order. It's a fantastic steak. I got the chicken one night. I wish I would have got the steak again. And so I probably would just do 2 rounds of steak next time. And that's probably my favorite meal on the Amtrak is the steak, and then you throw the butter cake on, and those are my 2 favorite things here. In terms of dinner dessert, I'd probably go with the cheesecake, but that's just because I'm not as big of a chocolate person. I know people swear by the chocolate that I was sitting with. So yeah, that's the food review on the Amtrak. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. The last 6 hours on the Empire Builder are relatively uneventful as it's a lot of cornfields as you head into Wisconsin. The train stopped a few times at places like Portage to let people out or to put people on, but you can't actually get out at any of these stops. After hours of Wisconsin farmland, they announced that we were making our way into Milwaukee, and so I decided to head to the observation car to see that. Milwaukee is another city that I haven't been to and that I wish I would have been able to spend a little time at, and as we approached I noticed how industrial the city was, how close the buildings got to the train, and how many bridges and highways we crossed to get into the train station.
In Milwaukee, I'm the only one left in the observation car, but I'm gonna go back to the room still too.
It's always strange to see an observation car empty as you have to fight so much for it during the rest of the train trip. But that's how you know you're getting close to your destination, as everybody's just back in their room preparing to unload.
Saying goodbye to the observation room for the rest of the train, I'm heading back to my room.
I spent a lot of time talking to people on this trip, more than I usually do, and one of the things that really resonated with me is just this idea of people romanticizing Amtrak travel. It's kind of funny because it feels like this leftover piece of a forgotten era where you can just sit and watch towns roll by you that you'll never stop in, and it's quiet and somewhat peaceful. Maybe that's why people talk about it like it's magic, but for me it kind of feels like one of those last ways that you can actually understand the distance between places. With air travel and everything being so close by, being able to sit on a train and just watch the world go by, see fall colors, see small towns, interact with people, it doesn't feel like something that we're used to anymore. I don't know, maybe that's why it sticks with so many people, and maybe that's why I'm starting to like it as well. I mean, this is my 3rd trip now, and 2 out of 3 were fantastic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments though, if any of this is actually making sense for you as well. And we got a few more hours before we get to Chicago to just watch the scenery outside, the last bit of fall color, and take it all. To finish our last few hours on the train, I grabbed my suitcase and I started packing everything up. And then pretty soon, the big buildings of Chicago started coming into view. You don't get to see the city for very long. As you approach Union Station, it actually goes underground and you complete the rest of your journey in the dark. As soon as you arrive, the train conductor tells you it's time to get your stuff and to get off. Be sure to tip your sleeping attendant on the way out, and then you head into Chicago's Union Station. It's hard to beat the beauty of the Union Station here, and it's definitely the perfect way to end your trip, especially after how lackluster the Seattle one was.
We've made it to Chicago's Union Station. That's it for our 2,200 mile, 46-hour journey. We were only 20 minutes delayed. Let me know if you want to see more Amtrak videos in the comments. Let me know what routes you want to see, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm excited to get off the train. Also, it's Chicago, and I gotta get deep dish pizza.
If you haven't spent much time in Chicago, then definitely plan for a day here. It's fun to explore. Even if you only have a short amount of time, go over to Millennium Park, see the Crown Fountain with the different spitting faces and the water below it. Go over to Cloud Gate, also known as the Bean, and just take in some of the cool, unique parts of the city. For pizza, I usually go to Lou Malnati's, but based on where I was staying, I headed to Paisano's. And here it is, my own personal deep dish. Oh yeah, there you go. Pro tip, if you're there by yourself, order online, grab an individual pizza, and just take it back to your hotel.
Cheers. We'll see you on the next one.